Hello students, this video is about speed control of synchronous motors using load commutated voltage source inverter. Synchronous motor is a double excited machine with a three-phase AC supply given to the stator and DC supply to the rotor. And basically what a voltage source inverter looks like. It has six transistors, six switches. Uh, how we try to connect the voltage source inverter to a synchronous motor stator to achieve speed control is the topic of discussion of this video. We know the speed of a synchronous motor is given by 4 pi f by p. So poles being the constant, the speed is directly proportional to the frequency. So if you could increase the frequency, you can increase the speed of synchronous motors, and decreasing the frequency will decrease the speed. So synchronous motor speed is uh, controlled by providing variable frequency supply to the synchronous motor, which can be done by using voltage source inverters or current source inverters or cycloconverters. In this video, we are interested in voltage source inverters. Like in induction motors, the voltage of the source must also be controlled along with frequency in order to keep flux constant. So this is because of the fact that if the supply frequency of synchronous motor is reduced without a reduction of applied voltage, the machine will saturate. So this can be avoided if the ratio of the voltage to frequency is maintained constant over the speed range to be employed. However, at low frequencies, because the resistance becomes appreciable than the reactance of the winding, consequently air gap flux decreases. Therefore, it is necessary to increase V by F ratio at low frequencies. So, at frequencies higher than rated frequency, we have to keep the voltage constant. So, this rule is applicable to synchronous motors as well. There are two modes of variable frequency to be provided to synchronous motor. One is through separate control, the other one is through self control. If we are changing the stator frequency independent of or not relating to any rotor parameter, then it is separate control. On the other hand, if the stator frequency is changed with some information obtained from rotor, then it is called self control. So on that basis, we have these two modes. Here I have highlighted the differences between the two modes. The first difference is frequency controlled by independent oscillator in separate control, whereas in self control, frequency is made to follow the rotor position through some sensors. Basically, separate control is an open loop control, whereas self control is a closed loop control, where the rotor speed is fed back to the stator side to produce stator frequency. Then in separate control, motor has inherent stability problems, and it is prone to hunting oscillations like in a normal synchronous motor. Whereas in self control, the synchronous motor has better stable operation. We can use this self control mode of speed control for starting of the synchronous motor as well. So there is a possibility to avoid hunting oscillations. Then number 4, a reference frequency is used in separate control and the inverter thyristors are fired accordingly. Whereas in self control, the inverter switches receive the pulses from rotor position. Then frequency is changed gradually in separate control so as to avoid oscillations, rotor oscillations. And whereas in self control, the frequency is changed in proportion to rotor speed. So the rotor speed is always equal to synchronous speed, new synchronous speed. So hunting is eliminated. The damper winding is required in separate control to hunt oscillations, to avoid hunting oscillations, and to start the synchronous motor. whereas in self-control, damper winding is not required. So this is the block diagram of separate control, wherein multiple synchronous motors are fed by a voltage source inverter. So we can use as many motors as possible because we are not deriving any feedback from synchronous motor in this method, separate control. So there is a frequency command F star which is applied to voltage source inverter through a delay circuit. The delay circuit is necessary here because the rotor speed should be able to follow the changes in frequency. You cannot make sudden changes in frequency. Then there is a flux control block which follows the desired relationship between voltage and frequency. It will output a voltage signal proportion to the frequency signal, and based upon this voltage signal the firing angle pulses are generated to the rectifier. So this is how separate control is achieved. Then in self-control, self-control is realized by firing the switches of the inverter through pulses which are obtained from rotor. So you can see that the synchronous motor rotor is the position is sensed by an encoder, and the output of encoder is used to fire the pulses, to fire the switches in the inverter. This inverter can be square wave inverter or PWM inverter or force commutated and load commutated inverters. So square wave and PWM inverters are basically transistor based. Uh, Basically here normally we use transistors in voltage source inverters rather than thyristors because transistors are self commutated, whereas we need to provide a force commutation circuit to thyristors. But in synchronous motors, when the load is a synchronous motor, load commutation can be achieved because synchronous motor can be operated under leading power factor through exciter control, field control. So that is why we are interested in load commutated inverter, thyristor based here. We force commutated and inverter has the disadvantage of the complexity and bulkiness as well as the cost because of the additional commutating components here. So the load commutated inverter provides us the best method of speed control using self control strategy. So this is the circuit diagram of the load commutated inverter feeding self-controlled synchronous motor. So you require a DC supply for load side converter, load commutated inverter. So that is why we use a rectifier also. So you can see the circuit diagram consists of overall circuit diagram two converters. One is source side converter which has a firing angle alpha s and it normally acts as a rectifier, and another converter is a line commutated converter which has a firing angle of alpha L which is basically operating as inverter. So when your alpha S is less than 90 degrees, the rectifier source side converter delivers a positive VDS and positive ID. When alpha S is greater than 90 degrees, the source side converter produces minus VDS and plus ID. Similarly, the load side converter. Now, when synchronous motor operates at leading power factor, the thyristors of the load side converter can be commutated by the motor induced voltages, just like the thyristors in the source side converter are commutated by line commutation technique. So this is a method in which the thyristors of load side converter are turned off by the synchronous motor voltages is called load commutation. So the when the load side converter operates as inverter and source side converter operates as rectifier, the power flows from three-phase AC supply via DC link to the synchronous motor. This is called the motoring operation. Conversely, when source side converter acts as inverter and load side converter acts as rectifier, the operation would be regenerative braking. So, the speed control here is obtained by control of the firing angle of load side converter alpha L, and the torque of synchronous motor depends upon DC link current ID, which further depends upon the VDS minus VDL. So, this manner self control is ensured when firing pulses are generated by the uh, synchronous motor. Now, this second part of the circuit, load side converter and synchronous motor together are called commutatorless DC motor. They behave as a DC motor without commutator because load side converter performs the function of converting DC to AC. So, this combination is called a commutatorless DC motor. The firing pulses to the load side converter are generated in two ways. From the information of rotor, that is by comparison of the rotor terminal voltages or by rotor position sensors. So this diagram shows the comparison of terminal voltages. So this it employs basically two loops here, the outer speed control loop and the inner current control loop. Then the terminal voltage sensor on the right side generates reference pulses of the same frequency as the machine induced voltages. So then an increase in reference speed omega m at the bottom produces a positive speed error E omega m, which indicates motoring operation. Then the speed controller and the current limiter set the DC link current reference to the maximum permissible value. The machine accelerates, and when motor and low torque balance, the drive settles at the desired speed. Then the current limiter desaturates. Thus, the firing pulses are produced by comparison of terminal voltages in the motor. Then, this is an alternate method of obtaining firing pulses, that is by using rotor position sensors. These are sensors which are stationary and suitably aligned with the armature winding. The frequency of induced voltage depends on the speed of rotor and their phase depends on the location of rotor poles with respect to the armature winding. The load side converter, shown as inverter here, have thyristors which are fired in the sequence of their numbers with 60 degrees interval, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6. One in the upper group, next one in the lower group, next another thyristor in the upper group. In 60 degrees intervals, each thyristor will be fired. Therefore, 6 rotor angular positions are required for one cycle of induced voltage for the control of these thyristors. So, 3 Hall effect sensors are sufficient to detect 6 rotor positions. Figure B shows such 3 Hall effect sensors mounted at 120 degrees apart and which are aligned suitably with armature winding. Basically, Hall effect means the production of a potential difference across a conductor when a magnetic field is applied in a direction perpendicular to the flow of current. So, these Hall effect sensors produce the 6 pulses which are required to fire the thyristors in the inverter, that means T1 to T6. So, figure C shows this Hall effect sensor outputs. Each electrical cycle consists of 6 divisions. In the first division, the first sensor is producing 0 output, second sensor is producing 0 output, third sensor C is producing 1. So the combination is 0 0 1. In the second part of first cycle, 0 0 0. In the third part, 1 0 0. In the fourth part, 1 1 0. Next it is 1 1 1. All are ones. Then in the last part of the first cycle, the outputs are 0 1 1. So in this manner, 6 combinations 0 0 1, 0 0 0, 1 0 0, 1 1 0, 1 1 1, 0 1 1. These 6 combinations are processed as firing pulses to the thyristors present in the inverter, and these inverters switch on in such manner to produce an AC output across the stator winding out of the DC input voltage which is produced by the rectifier. So the stator frequency is in this manner matched with the rotor speed. Stator frequency is proportional to the rotor speed. In this manner, self-control is achieved. Thank you.